This is a presentation for Team 1, SSAD project number 42, Perspective Link. My name is Mohammed Yasin.
I'm Sham Gopal Kartik and I'm Mohsin Mustafa.
So Perspective Link is an open source organization that aims to collect perspectives from various sources, find the commonalities and the connections within them, and also resolve the conflicts that are present.
The main goal of this project was to collect data from people, store them in a structured way, and then visualize them.
So Perspective Link did not have any pre-existing tools or technology. So our project involved building tools and techniques which would help Perspective Link get its tech stack finally up and running.
Across the course of this project, we developed 3 modules. The first module involved collecting data through forms and web scraping. Second module involved the visualizations of the collected data. The third module involved the chatbot on Messenger and the Perspective Link website as well as its logs.
The first modules we implemented for our project were for the collection aspect. We used a multi-pronged approach where we collected data through our scraping modules as well as our form building module. The scraping module included collecting data from various social media websites as well as from pre-existing data sets. And
the scraping module involved collecting views and answers from various websites like Quora and Reddit. So we collected question answers from Quora and different views on different topics from Reddit and stored them in a structured way. Also used visualizations on them, like word cloud and all.
So for the forms, we had very stiff requirements. We needed to be able to do analytics and visualizations on the form, as well as have complex conditional logic between the various form elements. Because of this, existing solutions wouldn't fit the bar. So we developed the entire forms module from scratch. So we have a form builder where you can design forms, and then the users can view and fill out forms, and then the admin gets to view the responses as well as see analytics and visualizations about the form.
To extract data from data sets, we made use of strategy markup language as per the client's instruction. We managed to extract data of over 4,000 organizations from the internet. This data include perspectives such as missions, visions, goals, objectives, and values. We made visualizations on these data which we acquired from strategy markup language. The second module of our project was the visualizations module. This involved creating various visualizations on the data we had collected during the first module, using the tools of the first module. There were totally 4 visualizations involved.
the first visualization that I talked about is the form filling frequency chart. The form filling frequency chart gives us a quantitative visualization in a pie chart form of the percentage of the people who answered a particular question. So if a person was ambiguous at a particular question and left it unanswered, that data is visualized as such.
The second visualization we used here was geomapping. So using Google Charts, we were able to plot from the geographic locations from where the users answered. And we ensured that we took the user's permission before collecting his location. So we asked the location to the user, and only when he opts in, we collect the data and present this chart.
Type of visualization for the forms. This is word cloud. Word cloud is a kind of chart that shows the size of word proportional to frequency of words used. So this can be used for knowing the number of words or frequency of words used by the user, which word is used more. So this has been implemented using Zen chart in a very good manner.
The fourth visualization was the response slideshow. The response slideshow shows every answer in a slideshow in a clean and polished manner. This helps a user to view all the responses without being overwhelmed by the massive amount of data. It shows every response's answers to each and every question.
The third and final module implemented as part of our project includes the chatbot. The chatbot is basically a data collection software wherein the users are allowed to input their perspectives into the chatbot from our website.
To achieve this chatbot, we used APIs given to us by Dialogflow. Dialogflow provides a very customizable interface with which we can design a chatbot. Apart from the usual text-based interface with the chatbot, we were also able to have a speech-based interface using automated speech recognition systems using Google APIs.
Dialogflow provides a very good way of designing on what intents you have to give a particular answer, and on what reply, and give some particular words for a particular answer, like sure and yes are same thing. And always there's a way to train the bot so to according to the changes you want.
The chatbot has been directly integrated into the main website for both logged in and logged out users. As well as apart from the main website, it has also been implemented on Facebook Messenger.
The Perspective Link website, which we developed, was based with Flask on the backend and Page.js and JavaScript on the front end. The various JavaScript libraries we use include jQuery and Page.js, along with a variety of others for visualizations.
Here we're logging in to using the username. Now we're directed directly into the admin dashboard, where we have the 3 modules divided and then further subdivisions.
First, we'll enter the data collection module, which includes the form builder, the view form responses, and web scraper. This is the form builder interface, which includes all the form elements you can add on the right side, and this is where the form elements are added.
Now, any form element can be added, and then other conditional logic can be applied to create more forks in how the form will be displayed.
Right now we are creating a sample form which uses basic conditional logic.
Here we add multiple gender options in a drop-down list. Now, based on the responses towards our drop-down list, we have created further form elements.
Conditional logic allows us to give questions to certain users, specifically to certain users in the very same form.
Furthermore, we can provide different kinds of form elements based on how your responses are. So, whereas one response can give you a checkbox, the another response probably can lead you to a drop-down list again.
So this is the finalized JSON of the form we just created, and we can save it. We can see the form elements we have just created over here, the text area and similar conditional, similar drop downs in the JSON. Once saved into the backend as a JSON, we get the link to submit the form. Right now we are submitting a form to the form we just created. Now as I just press mail, the question that is particular to a male choice is shown over here, and when I press female, the question that is particular for a woman is shown over here. So the responses can therefore be stored into the database.
Here we have a pre-existing form we've built, and here we can see a little more complicated conditional logic applied. Now, as I've selected gulab jamun, I've gotten a checklist to add up how many gulab jamuns I would eat at one go. Now, if I were to select a different option, say ice cream, then it's actually a text box to describe why I liked it.
And if it was cake, it would be a radio button. So this was an example of conditional logic. So we submit this form. Now for the responses we have submitted to a form, we can view all of these responses using the view form responses menu. So entering the ID of the form, we can see all the responses that have been submitted till now for this very form. The conditional logic is apparent in this, since for every response a maximum of 1 among these 3 columns have been written and the others have been not applicable.
Okay, so now we look at the data visualization aspect. The first visualization we have is geomapping responses. This shows us a map displaying from the locations from where the users fill out our forms. So for this form ID is 3, and then we get a geo chart. Belarus has 1 response, Albania has 1 response, and so does Argentina. And it's possible for us to even download the image. So now let us say we fill out another form from, let's say now we set the country to Afghanistan, and now we submit this form. And now again, when we go back to geomapping responses, we can see that there's 1 now response from Afghanistan. So this visualization is dynamically updated, and yeah, you can even download the image here. The next visualization that we look at is the form filling frequency. This tells us the frequency with which a certain form element has been filled. So again, we go to the same form. So we can choose the form element. So for example, name has been filled 6 times and only 6 responses have been there. So 100, all the people who have filled out the form have answered this. But let us say now we, for example, again fill out this form. And this time we do not fill out anything and just plain submit. Again, we can see that now 1 response is empty. So we can similarly see the statistic for all the other questions. So this is how this visualization provides a good picture of the frequency with which the forms are getting filled.
The next module we've implemented for data visualization is the form word cloud. Now the form word cloud is basically a representation wherein you take it displays the words in a bunch of text based on the frequency of those words. So if the largest words appearing is an indication of indication of the general idea or the perspective in that text.
So in this case, among all the forms and among all the responses, this is the word cloud obtained. Now for a specific form, if we give in a specific response, we find that these are the most commonly occurring words. Similarly, we can do it with other responses too. This was created using ZingChart.js, a JS JavaScript module that is helpful for creating word clouds.
Our next data visualization module is the response slideshow,
which is a neat and polished way of showing all the responses to a certain particular form. It shows it in the form of a slideshow, and unlike to what was shown in the view responses tab, it does not show it as a table, which may be overwhelming due to the huge amount of data that will be shown at one go. So the user can loop through all the responses as a slideshow. And the slides show only those responses which the user can reply to. For example, this user chooses ice cream as his favorite dessert, so he has a question, why do you like ice cream? But then the other user selects gulab jamun and he gets a question, how many gulab jamuns in one go?
The next module is chatbot. Here you can view the chat logs or the chat responses by different users. It has been integrated onto web app and also onto Messenger. It has been built using Dialogflow. When you type in hi, it asks you if you want to take a small survey. If you reply with no, it will say goodbye, see you soon. And if you reply with yes, it will start asking you questions about your perspectives. Now the missions. Ask about your goals. Ask objectives. And so on. Values. These all views are stored in the database. It can be viewed from chatbot responses. Here, select the last one. This is the current chat. You can see the same thing has been displayed here. Vision, mission, goals, objectives, and values. Now this is the perspective link page, and if we send a message to this page, it will directly go to the bot. When you click on get started, it will ask if you want to take a small survey. The same survey that we took on the web app. It will ask about your visions, then your missions, and your goals, your objectives, and your values. And you can view this responses on the chatbot responses. Yeah, these are the things that have been filled in the Facebook Messenger.
Hence, we have satisfied all the requirements mentioned in the SRS document as well as all the use cases for our project.
We have followed the best software development practices and produced a maintainable code.
We've provided extensive documentation, not only with respect to the documents that we provided for the had to do as part of the SSAD course, but we've also documented our code very well so that it can easily be maintained and improved on in the future.
We hope that the work we put into this project will be put forward through production, and would love to see the results of beta testing. Hope you enjoyed this project. Thank you.
Thank you.